I'm sure lots of people have questions. So there's microphones here, so I'd be happy to take some questions.
Yes, we're here to take questions. Thank you so much for bringing them. You said... You've had them for a week and you never want to take them off again, right? What happens when you walk in the street with them? Do people notice it?
Some do. If people have seen it on TV or in the newspaper or something, they'll go, "Are those the Google glasses?" And then that starts a whole conversation. And sometimes they're sort of turned off by it, and then we have a privacy conversation, or that's a weird, or you look like a Borg, or I'd never wear those kind of conversations. But most people are like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. You know, and particularly when, here, you want to try them on?
Oh, yes, I do.
So, you know, and then
nice little sound here.
You can scroll through things here and see what it looks like. So, and seeing the screen, see? This is the kind of reaction I've been having all day long. Oh, this is cool.
I mean, I would never moderate another conference without them because, you know, this is actually really, really good.
In fact, I want some apps for speaking because I certainly want to see Twitter. There's not a Twitter app here, so I can't see any tweets. But I want to see live tweets from everybody as I'm on stage. Think about it. You know, I've talked to Will.i.am and performers. They would love to have this kind of real-time feedback with their audience so that they could take to see feedback in these glasses while they're talking. I also want my speaker notes in the glass, so hey, remember to talk about this or that.
And the tweets from the audience, they can just be here.
Yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
So, Robert, what I would like to know is, did you now act illegal by giving it to Monique?
No, it's not. Google gave me permission to let other people try them on. They are not allowed to leave my possession.
Okay.
So I'm not allowed to give them to you to use, you know,
well, what other rules did they give you? Because you've been driving around with them, right, in your car.
That's the only rule.
Is that okay?
They didn't tell me. They said use them wherever you want. You know, I think you're opening up. So people ask about driving all the time. There's no law that I know of that bans these outright. You know, not yet. West Virginia has a proposed law that one of their politicians is trying to get them banned. But there are lots of laws against distracted driving. Yeah. And you know, if I get in an accident and I'm wearing these, I think I am opening myself up to a new kind of legal problem because these haven't been tested in court.
And then they'll have to check if you were watching your map or if you were watching your path stream or something, you know, then...
Yeah, but it is, I believe the evidence will show that these are far safer than looking at your navigation system because then you have to take your eye off the road, look down at a navigation system, and certainly it's far worse to look at a cell phone. So if you're texting and driving, this is why so many deaths have happened. You take your eye off and start playing with your phone and your concentration's totally down here and not on the road ahead. So here the road ahead is always, I always am looking forward, even when I'm looking up.
It floats here somewhere. But so Google...
Jet pilots, by the way, have devices like this or heads-up displays, and they throw a lot more information on their screens, and they can fly a jet with these kinds of heads-up displays. So I'm pretty sure that this is not going to be a major problem for humans. But,
so Google didn't give you any rules of what you can and cannot do except for giving them away. Yeah. Did your wife give you any rules?
Yeah, don't bring these in the bedroom. You know, and I'm sure they will be used for that. I'm sure they will be used. The porn industry is really going to love these because of the, you know, Hermione said it on stage, right? Hey, you know, name a technology that the porn industry hasn't adopted before most other industries, right?
But in one of the
training, by the way, it's going to be really cool because I can teach you how to cook a meal or weld or do soldering because it's first person and it's on my head and it's on my eye and it looks at what I'm looking at and my hands can be in the photo. As a videographer and a photographer, I find these very freeing and very different to use for photography than my usual DSLR.
I mean, one of the interesting things Google did was, I mean, they sold them, not give away, sold them to people with a great idea, like if I had glass. And then the people they selected to get the first sets were all people that described something they would do with them. And
well, that's the second group. I was in the first group.
Oh, you are first, of course.
Yeah, the first group were the developers at Google I/O conference that could buy them and bought them. I bought them last May and just got them a week ago. So,
okay, because the others don't have them yet, right?
Right. They sold 3,000 at that conference, so that shows the developer interest in these is very high. And then they have 8,000 total sold, so they've sold another 5,000 on Twitter and Google Plus and Facebook by doing this contest.
Because the interesting thing there was that lots of people described what they would do with them,
Yep.
and you suddenly realize, oh, wait a minute, it's not just about giving the person wearing them information, it's actually like broadcasting to the world a lot of the first-person experiences.
Yeah.
It's like the world champion soccer player, the pool player, Torsten Homan, he will do the world championships. And so lots of people were, exactly, you know, very first point of view, new kind of ego broadcasting, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the audience, there's lots of questions here. Yes, please.
Jeremy was first.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we met. Hey, Robert. So I have a question. I work for Google, so I have to preempt that. It's a two-part question. The first one is, you believe context is the future, right?
Yeah.
And if that involves tracking, what does that mean for countries that are privacy sensitive?
It means you're going to be at a disadvantage to countries that allow it.
So it'll be the new digital divide.
By the way, I've thought a lot about this. We are in competition with each other for all sorts of things. For instance, I was on a plane one day, and I didn't turn off my cell phone because I'm a bad boy. And I had TripIt on my phone. And TripIt told me your plane is being canceled and is going back to the gate. I immediately bought a ticket on another airline out of town. There were 3 tickets for 100 people.
It's like
I am in competition with you for all sorts of experiences all the time. Tonight when we go to dinner at the best restaurant in town, there might be 1 table left right now, and I'll go to open table and take it. And you might come 30 seconds later and want the same table. Gone. We're in competition with each other.
The second part is...
You know, there's an app called at work, right? There's a new iPad app from Expect Labs. God, I forget the name of it now. My brain. See, this is why I need this stuff. I need to Google what's the app that Om Malik really loved last year. You know, and it listens to you. And so I can say, pull up my sales data from the Northern Territory for last quarter and compare it to the sales data for the Northern or the Western Territory for last quarter, and I will have an answer from my boss faster than you will. So who's going to have the raise when the raise comes around? We're in competition with each other.
Okay, the second part is, so one of my favorite authors, he's already tried glass, and I'm sitting next to Bruce Sterling.
Yeah,
and
we've been to CERN together.
He hasn't tried glass.
Watch out, he's been to CERN. They radiated our brains there a little bit.
But my request is, would you let Bruce try the glasses?
Sure.
I'd like to see his reaction.
Yes. Bruce, you
Wanna
want to try them on? Please, come on stage, come on stage.
Come on stage over here, or over there.
Thank you, Jeremy. Brilliant idea.
Google evangelists, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, you know,
Stand here near the
I do have the HTC One Facebook phone. We can talk about that if you want.
I love those.
All right. So,
Right, it's demanding some input.
so let me stand down here. So you can turn it on by touching it, and it's on. And so now you can see my pictures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other side, you can let me go all the way over. You can see my calendar now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see the weather in Berlin.
Yeah.
Do we need an umbrella tonight?
You know, it has a very 1980s feeling about it. It's nice, it's cute.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's not, it doesn't hurt. You know,
No.
it's lightweight.
They've
it's
taken control of your brain, dude.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Cute device.
Yeah. Skepticism from Bruce Sterling.
Bruce will think about it a little bit, and he's back after the break to tell
That
you
is
his
almost
thoughts
as big a
about this
lens
new
as I
world.
have.
Another question here for Robert.
Yeah, actually, 2 questions.
Yeah.
My name is Robert as well. And I would like to know.
I beat you on Google.
Third thing is, how good is the display? You didn't mention, well, you mentioned the quality of the video, but not the quality of the display, because if you want to know directions from a map, I can imagine.
You want to wear it? Here.
I can check it?
Yeah. It's fairly sharp. It shows exactly what's on my cell phone, so it's the same kind of resolution. You can see it. Yeah. It's sharp. You can watch a video in it. The problem is, you wouldn't watch a movie with it, but you might. Yeah, come on up here.
Sure. Wait, all 1,000 of you stand in line. And
yeah, there's a limit to this. It's called battery life. We'll do this until the battery dies, right? So, you can watch video. So I've watched some news video and stuff, right?
Okay.
So what do you think?
Yeah, quite good. Still can't imagine. How can I see a map? I can't still imagine how you can see these directions and walk through Berlin, for example.
The problem is my phone's not working, so let's try it. Let's try to get it up here. Do you know of an address that you want to go to?
Well,
just think of an address. All right.
a good main station then. Right. Berlin main station.
Say OK Glass.
OK Glass.
Get directions to.
Get directions to.
See it. I can see it. It's not hooked up properly because the Wi-Fi here is a little wonky.
Okay, so you need a connection to the smartphone to get to the
to the map. Yeah.
Okay, just make it self.
Yeah.
So you still need
you need a smartphone. There is not a cell phone radio in this.
Let's take this back to amplified voices.
Yeah. So what do you think? The sharpness, though, you can see that you can see a full-on map. It's sharp enough for that.
And it's working. Okay.
Yeah.
And one question is, how good is the voice?
It's
recognition.
It's pretty good. It recognizes Australian accent and UK accent pretty well. German accents I've had some problems with. But, yeah, so you have to articulate clearly. I expect that they only let U.S. based people buy them so far. I bet there's going to be international versions. But you see there's only a few commands. There's take a picture, record a video, get driving or get directions, send a message, call, and maybe one other thing. Because the number of prompts is small, the accuracy is extraordinarily high. It works almost every time with people I let try them on.
So you can't do
searches. Sorry.
You can do search. You can do OK Glass, Google, and then you can say look up information on whatnot.
Yeah, we can take some more.
Okay, so we take more questions from you. If there's someone.
Design issues, privacy issues,
okay.
Keeping them always on issues.
You can watch my privacy. I'm arguing with Andrew Keen tomorrow at the Next Web about privacy. So.
That's very good. My name's Jero Maestro.
Yeah.
And Robert, I have a question about privacy again. We talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yep.
You mentioned an example earlier about a concert, for instance, with will.i.am.
Yep.
And he could get the live tweets. But at the same time, if there's people in the audience wearing glass, they could be recording the concert.
Yep.
They could be taking photos, which is, it's not allowed right now. It's already difficult to monitor and track that now. And with devices like this and Epiphany and other devices, it's going to get even more complicated. So how do you see the impact on protecting intellectual property rights and commercial rights?
I think YouTube has already dealt with that. If an artist does not want their recording out on YouTube, they have copyright protection of that, and you're in a private space, and you signed a deal with the artist when you walked in the front door. They probably had a sign on the front door, or they had a thing on the ticket, and they said, if you don't agree with this, come see us for a refund and don't come into the venue. At casinos, I was just in Vegas, they usually don't let you use cameras, but in some places they had warning signs that there was TV cameras being used to film a TV series, and if you were in that space, you implicitly gave the permission that your image might make it onto TV because of the TV cameras was in that space. So we're going to see more of that kind of behavior with wearable computers, but keep in mind, you can tell that I'm wearing this. The Memoto camera, you can't really tell. And the Epiphany eyewear glasses that I showed, you can't tell. They look like Oakley sunglasses. They just are part of your face now. So this is going to be a difficult problem. I think it's going to be solved on the cloud, that YouTube is going to take down videos that an artist doesn't want up. But personally, the good artists, when I talk to them, say they want you to film them because that's how their brand spreads, right? And do you really want to experience, a rock and roll concert over a little blurry video? I don't. I mean, I want to see, a sampling of what it's like to be in the concert there, so I know I'm getting a good deal for my $100, when I pay for a ticket. But I want to experience it on stage, right?
Do you see that evolving, and artists will eventually allow people?
I think it already is, that the society is changing because of our smartphones. I mean, you watch a concert now. I was just at Coachella a weekend ago, and everybody in the audience is holding up a cell phone and recording the conference or the concert, right? I mean, I have pictures of hundreds of cell phones at Coachella. It's really crazy. Yeah.
So moving on from Google Glass, you said predictive and anticipatory services are saving time. But can you trust them? Because they save time if they get it right.
Mostly. That's a good question. I was using, there's a contextual service called Sage, or Saga, sorry. And it keeps giving me golf details because I live on a golf course, or there's a golf course around my house. And it keeps thinking I want to go golfing because I'm on the golf course. And there's no way to remove it and say, no, I hate golf. I just live on a golf course. And so that's a false positive. The algorithm's not working very well. It's trying to make some contextual information about me more relevant than it should be. And there's no way to train it. There's several new apps coming that let you change that on your smartphone and tell it this really isn't important to me. And that's the right way to tune these things that are coming to my eye. I'm doing this with Gmail, by the way. How many people use smart labels in Gmail? Yeah, it's the most productive thing I've done for my email is turning on these smart labels. So you turn them on in settings, in labs, and look for smart labels. It turns on a new kind of filter that takes like a Facebook email and puts it in a social folder and gets it out of your inbox so you can see your real email from a customer or your boss yelling at you or something like that. But that's a good example of these new contextual filters starting to get better and better and better. I'm using Other Inbox and SaneBox on my email. These are filtering my email in real time so that on my glass I only get good email. I don't get the press releases, and I don't get the stupid spammy bacon style emails in the glasses. This is going to save me time and save me from getting irritated at these things.
Having heard, more or less what it can do, and honestly, it doesn't. I mean, I'm already wearing glasses, so it doesn't feel terrible to have it there anyway.
And after 2 days, I don't even notice they're on. I notice more of this microphone's bothering me because it's biting me right here than the glasses.
But how many of you would think that it will come on the market by next year? I'll have a pair.
How many? Yeah, interesting.
So a lot of people think I don't want one.
The real question is, at what price do they get interested? That's what I've been asking. And $1,500, very few, only weirdo geeks like me really want a pair, right? And you get down to $500, then a lot more people go, yeah, I could see having them at $500. And if they get down to $200, which I believe they will be within
check.
2 years.
$200, buy one?
See?
There you go. There you go.
Almost every hand went up. And that's what's going to happen. These things have no technology in them. It's a 2/3 of a cell phone.
Well,
and we already have cell phones.
Yeah.
We already the Facebook phone, the HTC home phone is already $100 with a subsidy, so it's $300 retail. So this has less electronics in it than that phone does.
But you said that this thing to you feels like the way you felt when the iPhone arrived. Like it's a completely new paradigm, and
I think it's the Apple II. Actually, when I got my, I was 13 years old when I unboxed my dad's Apple II, and it had a cassette tape drive, didn't have a hard drive, had like 16 kilobytes of RAM, right? And it didn't have any software. There's no software for it. There was no games.
And you were
there
still
was
happy.
Like 3 games. I was happy because I knew it was the future, and I knew that all through my life that device would change my life, and it has. And I feel that way about this. I feel that we're heading into a 10-year, maybe even a 20-year exploration of wearable computing and contextual devices, contextual software, that I think is going to be quite fascinating to watch.
Can you tell us a little bit about the ecosystem around this? Because Mark Andreessen, I think, was one of the people that has decided to put up a big fund
there's
for this,
three
right?
VC firms, Google Ventures, Andreessen Horowitz, and John Doerr's firm.
Someone.
Ask Google Glass.
Kleiner Perkins, Klopfer, KPCM, whatever. There's three firms, and they're funding startups that are building apps that are interesting for this glass. I think it's partly marketing on their part because they want to have that affordance of being futuristic. And Mark told, I interviewed Mark for my book, and he said, I want to see everything first. And I go, I'm in competition with you, dude. I want to see everything first. He goes, well, okay. But he wants to make sure that the programmers who are developing new ideas come to him first, and that's a great way to signal the world that he has money dedicated for this project. I think we're going to see some really interesting apps. I hear there's already a few more coming. So,
Robert, what do you think about the fact that you bought this piece, but you don't own it?
Well, I have 20 more days to send them back for a full refund. So if I don't like it, I can do that. I don't mind that. For one reason, I think it's an anti-theft thing. It is matched to my Google account. And so I can't really give them to you because it's matched. My Google account is mapped and paired with this device. And so giving them to somebody or selling them on eBay brings into question what account is paired with these things, and how would Google pair a prototype with another account. They just don't want to deal with it. I think it's fair. I bought these to develop software and test them out and think about the future and try to beat Bruce Sterling and come up with something more pithy than he has to say. Right.
We have another question in the audience.
And that's a hard job, by the way, because he's pretty good at what he does.
We have another question in the audience.
Hi, my name is Peter. You were saying that bytes are changing your life. Yes, I agree. Bytes have changed lots of my life as well. Obviously, you are quite enthusiastic about all those changes. Yes, in many respects, I'm very enthusiastic about it. Can you imagine a change which you would not be enthusiastic about? Because I have to tell you, starting with all this prediction stuff, which is quite fascinating, obviously.
There are
also, I feel a little bit, how shall I say? I mean,
scared.
Am I scared? And am I responsible for my life, or is it someone else or an engine? So that's what scares me.
You're getting onto something that, does this change us as human beings? And I think it does at some level. I think our smartphones do, right? That we're already twitching when we don't have our smartphone for a couple minutes. If the internet all went down here, we'd all be twitching. Where's my internet? My internet's not working. And they'd be yelling at you for getting the Wi-Fi back up. And I've seen this happen at conferences, right? When the web didn't have Wi-Fi, everybody was yelling at Loic, what's up, man? You're at an internet conference and your Wi-Fi doesn't work.
But you would say that we have to get used to it, right? We have to get used to it.
No, there are good and bad to all technologies. If we were 100 years ago, if this conference was 100 years ago and we were talking about this new thing called the automobile, would we have a session here about the deaths that would happen because of this thing? 30,000 plus people die a year in cars. Yeah, we all do it because there's a benefit to it, right? And there are going to be things that are nasty about this. There are going to be privacy problems. There are going to be people who misuse this, or there are going to be governments that misuse it against their people. There are going to be problems with it. There already are. Facebook, I talked to a guy at Davos whose family was kidnapped because they got to him through a Facebook friend, right? So there already are problems in this world because of these new technologies, these new social systems that we built. And that is something to be concerned about, but I like to use risk analysis. I take a risk every day I go into the street with a taxi or a car, but I like to get to the airport and go home. Okay. So I do that, so there's good and there's bad, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow with Andrew Keen, so you can watch that on the internet.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who has a question?
Yeah. But personally, I'm not freaked out by much. I'm more freaked out by the TSA using that X-ray machine, and somebody's sitting in some room watching me naked. That sort of freaks me out. I'd hate to have that job, by the way.
Hi, Robert. Hi. I got a question. So far, I think on your body now there's something like 20 sensors, but if you don't want them, you can still take them off. Probably the next step will be these sensors will be more and more integrated in your body.
Yeah, at Davos, I met somebody who's putting chips inside the pills to study their dissolve rates and their absorption rates in the body, and to better time the medicine deliveries that's going on, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, these sensors, if you can't take them off, would you still be in favor of testing them out? Or would you still be...
I am not quite to Steve Mann is a guy who's been wearing a glass like this for, I think, 20 years, and he actually has them surgically implanted in his head. They're attached to his head. I'm not quite ready to do that, but I could see why I would. I could see why I would. It'll take me a few years to get to that point. I can certainly see why I would want a sensor for blood glucose or other things, which is a little bit invasive and needs to prick me, once every few hours and take a few cells of blood out of my skin. So. But certainly, if you're a diabetic, that's a lot better than having to, actually prick your finger every hour or something like that and put it on a sensor, right? Any other questions?
There's one in the back there. Maybe shout a question.
How do you log the glasses? I mean, you have your Google account connected.
Yeah, so it's paired through low power Bluetooth to my cell phone, and then my cell phone, it's paired to my Google Mail, my Google Calendar, my Google Search, my Google Maps. Basically, Google has control of me.
You used to be a Microsoft man,
I used to be a Microsoft guy, yeah.
So you can lock the glasses with your phone, but if I take the glasses, I can use them and see your accounts?
Yes.
You have to say the password loud?
No. If you took them, you would see my account. If you really stole them from me, I have two-factor authentication, and I have a way to kill the glasses instantly. If they're not paired, it's just a screen that's showing. There's not much data saved on the phone itself, so you might get to see a couple of emails, but you wouldn't see my entire email. And to read anything, you would have to be hooked up to my account. So I'm not too worried about that. I can put them into a demo mode where you can't see my account, and then I can hand them to you, and you can try them out that way, but I don't care. If you guys want to answer my email, I have 6,000 unread. I'm willing to do that. There's nothing good in my email, really, No juicy details. Anyways.
We have more questions?
One more question or two?
One last question.
Okay.
And I'll stick around for a few minutes and let people try them or something. Anybody else?
No more questions.
All right.
The story of the glass is told.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.